James?
Hello, how are you, Nicholas?
Yeah, I'm very good today. How about you?
Pretty good. Happy that it's Friday.
Yeah, happy Friday. Very nice to meet you again, especially
Nice.
for, how's a very nice weather and last day of the week, right?
Yeah, exactly. Ready to
Okay.
enjoy the weekend?
You too. After this, after the talk, I feel quite relaxed. So,
Fantastic.
yeah. So today, I think we will share. Would like to ask you for your personal comments on how difference between we call this an average uh, a programmer,
Hmm.
a programmer, a good programmer, and a great programmer. So uh,
Yeah.
yeah, so we have many uh, uh, developers or programmers uh,
Hmm.
like and you may have seen in your job and
Yes,
I have seen
of
a
course.
lot of
There's a wide range of skills between programmers, eh?
yes.
It's interesting to know this.
Yes, so okay, so let's start the first point. uh so how they are different, and so that means
Hmm.
how who can be an average programmer, who is a good one and
Hmm.
who is great one. Yeah. So
Hmm.
first one is according to you, what do you think is the first quality uh, of a good programmer or average or outstanding
Well,
programmer?
a good programmer should have, first of all, a positive attitude, right?
Positive.
Um,
Yeah. Okay, so we talk about the first one, the positive attitude. Yeah.
Yes. Of course, a positive attitude it's helpful as well to whenever you encounter any situations, especially for example, in terms of technology in the technology field as well. We have sometimes very stressful situations, right? For example,
Yes.
like very short deadlines, um,
Yeah.
uh, stuff like that that require you. For
Yeah.
example, we've talked previously about how sometimes you have to stay overnight in the in the office and work the whole
Yeah.
night because you have a deadline for the next morning.
Yes.
So a good programmer would have a positive attitude towards that. Not necessarily be super happy, like every time, yes, I'm staying. But it's just
Yeah.
instead
Okay.
of complaining and instead of not doing anything, it's like, okay, something that I
Yeah.
have to do right now and I'll do my best, right? It's a hands-on attitude, I guess.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. Hands-on attitude. That means ready to cope with difficult situation or stressful situation.
exactly. Especially in this field, we're always um, on the rush, right? So in a bad
Yes.
programmer, instead of okay stepping up to the game, they would just
Yeah.
be complaining the whole time and maybe be counterproductive. So somebody who doesn't have a positive attitude can ruin the mood of the team, which is bad
Okay.
in the long term, right?
Okay. Yeah, that's right. Even quit the game, right?
Sorry?
So yeah. Even quit the game. That means
Yeah,
cannot
exactly. Like
continue. Yeah.
they quit in the last moment and they left you hanging there, and it's horrible.
Okay. So that's very dangerous for company and for clients also, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So okay. So have you heard about any? Have you met any? I mean, if we in the situation, such a kind of situation where someone quits in the middle of the project and, like you say, leave the whole team,
Thankfully, I
behind
haven't, I
deadline.
haven't, I haven't had anybody who quits on the spot, but I've definitely have encountered people that are not very positive, and
Yeah.
then they're always complaining, and And for me personally, I tend to be very positive in my life in general. And
Oh,
working
that's
with this
great.
kind of people, working with this kind of people tends to be just very hard. You know, they drain your
Yeah.
energy, they distract you. So
Uh,
yeah, those are the type of people who you don't really want to work with.
uh, yes, I also agree that positive attitude is maybe the first of the first, right? I mean, the first of everything, the first of
Yes,
the
exactly.
yeah all the qualities, right? Yeah, I
Exactly.
agree. Okay, so move on to the second point. Uh,
Um,
yeah, we
on
talk
the
about
second, yeah,
supreme
communication skills.
communication skills. Do you agree with this? And can you explain?
Yes, of course. Supreme communication skill. That's you're talking about William Shakespeare or something like. No, but
uh,
definitely having good communication skills is a very crucial skill to have,
yes.
because a very good or a great programmer, what they're able to do is they're able to understand the problems, right? And not
Yeah,
only
right.
understand the problems, but they're able to communicate their ideas, which is
Oh,
something
that's
we
right.
talked about the other day as well, I think, when we were talking about letters. So
Yes.
being able to express your ideas, it's crucial, right?
Yes.
Especially now that, for example, that you work online and you work with people over the world as well. You need to be
Yes.
able to not only speak your own language, but be able to speak English as well, which is the
Oh.
language of the internet. Um,
Oh.
besides being able to communicate, having good communication skills means also being able to make good questions. So, for
Yeah,
example,
right.
when a normal or average programmer doesn't understand something, they just stay quiet, right? And they don't ask, and they are afraid of coming up and saying, "Hey, I don't understand this," right?
Yeah.
And a good programmer and a great programmer who has good communication skills, the first thing they do once they don't understand something, they raise their hands and it's like, hey, I didn't understand this. Can you explain it further, please? Um,
Okay.
just to make sure that they understand and that the communication keeps flowing, which is why it's important to have a good communication skill.
Yeah, that's interesting. So
Yeah.
yeah, a good one. Like we say, understand the issue technically, but also can communicate, right? Well,
Yes, exactly.
so
And
yeah,
it's a very crucial skill to have as well, because I think we as programmers, we usually tend to be very awkward, very socially awkward, right?
yeah,
And you're
yeah, right.
shy
Yes,
and are
yes,
bad handling clients and bad
yeah,
handling other coworkers. So this is a good skill to have and develop.
yeah. Okay, yeah, I agree with this. So yeah, so the communication skill, like you just said, also include language skill, right? That means that uh, even if a good developer understands the issue, but if he doesn't have a language tool, like if he cannot speak English well, he cannot communicate well, right?
Yes,
So
that's a big problem, right?
yeah,
Because yeah, of course, if you're not able to communicate in English with people in other countries, then you no matter how good your skills are and how many programming languages you know, and it doesn't matter how
yeah.
great you are at coding, if you're not able to communicate yourself, nobody
Yes.
will hire you, nobody will work with you.
Okay, understand. So that means Vietnamese developers need to speak English well, need to spend time on English, right? Because I know many good technical developers. That means they are good at technical issues, yeah. But they cannot
Yeah,
communicate because they lack um, English skills. So yeah, okay, so that's
yeah,
good.
that's something that should. Yeah, awesome.
Okay. So next one is number three is they say good one
Create a
should be, yeah, good at
create a
time and
time and
task
task
management. Yeah.
management. Yeah, this is a very important skill. I think here
Okay.
the difference between a bad or average programmer and a good programmer is that, for example, a bad programmer, they will always miss deadlines, for example, right? Which
Late of
is
the time. Yeah.
which is exactly that is something. And I understand that sometimes you stumble into problems and sometimes
Yes.
things get delayed.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, usually a good programmer is able to know how much time something will take him, and even that, even if they are not able to meet deadlines, task
Yes.
management as well is a very important thing, right? So, for
Yes.
example, knowing how to prioritize your projects is
Yeah.
something that is
Exactly.
very important because sometimes
Right.
you're working in different projects at the same time, right?
Yes.
And sometimes you have to decide, you have to break your time if you're working 8 hours a day and
Yes.
you have three projects, right? How do you
Yes.
divide the time
Yes.
into these from these three projects into 8 hours? And that's when it
Yes.
comes, being able to prioritize uh, between deadlines that are coming, things that are gonna take you more time, things that are fast, things that are easy.
Yes.
So a good developer is able to make the distinction between all these things and have a good time management.
Yes, yeah, I agree. But yeah, I have been in this situation, and I see that behind the deadline or yeah, delivery of the project on time is one of the most difficult issue
Hmm.
in IT sector, right? Of course, yeah,
Hmm.
you know, I don't know how you do in the project, but in my project here, I see our developers, I mean our project manager, have to say sorry to clients many
Yeah.
times, not
Well,
only one
it
or two. But yeah,
it's part of, yeah, it's part of the job, eh? It's that's one problem that we always. It's impossible to always hit the deadlines.
yeah,
But for the most part, we should be able. And then if and this is when good communications and positive attitude comes in, right? Because if
yes,
you see that, hey, I'm not gonna make the deadline. This is why. These are the reasons why I'm not gonna make the deadline. And if you're
yes,
able to communicate properly and say why, what were the problems that you came upon, and all these things, you can
yes,
solve the issues without further problems, right?
yes. Okay, but in my opinion, someone who do things, deliver things on time is quite intelligent and experienced, right? It means
Exactly. I mean, with
yeah,
experience, you can kind of know how much time something
yeah,
will take.
can
So
can
it's
estimate,
more of an
right?
experience. Yeah, exactly. The estimates get better with time for sure. But
Yes,
then as well,
yeah,
sometimes the deadlines are not part of the programmers are just the ones that are working on it, right? But sometimes the project managers are the ones that are giving the deadlines, and they're just giving like I don't know,
yeah,
super short deadlines and stuff like that.
yes,
But that's another topic.
yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. Yeah, next one. Uh, Number four is quick learning ability. Do you think
Quick look.
yeah, quick learning ability is part of a
Yes,
good
of course.
programmer?
I mean, a good programmer is someone that usually learns by themselves, right? And especially
Ah,
on this, when you're working with technologies, technology
yes,
keeps evolving, and every week there's something
yeah,
new, and every month there's something new. Um,
yeah, right,
if you don't keep learning, I don't know, on these kind of fields, you're easily outdated after what 2 3 years
yes,
maybe.
yes,
When I
you're
first
right.
started sort of working with websites, um, we used to work with tables and very old ways of coding for
Yes,
websites, and it's been what 10 years maybe, and in that time I've had to change and learn and relearn how to make websites, every 2 3 years because it just keeps improving and changing and all these things and things like PHP and you have new languages
Yeah.
and you have new ways of doing. Yeah,
And
it's
different
important to
versions of
be.
right.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, every year
Somebody.
at least you see iOS and Android they have a different versions every year, right?
Exactly.
Every time, yeah, every
Imagine,
3 or 6 months. Yeah.
and that means having to learn a new way of programming for a new version of iPhone or a new phone, and
Yes.
yeah, it's insane. And then yeah, a lot of very fast-paced environment.
Yeah. So how about PHP now? What is the PHP version now? Number 5 or 6 or 10? I
So
don't know. I don't update with that.
sorry,
PHP programming languages. I mean PHP. You just mentioned
but
PHP.
the version you mean?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they often say my developers often say, yeah, now is a PHP 5 or now PHP
Yeah,
6.
yeah, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
the latest that I've been working with is 5.6,
Okay.
but and then 7 as
5.6.
well. But I stopped working with PHP quite a long time ago, so I just stick with 5.6. But now it's version 7 actually, um,
Okay.
which is going to be updated, I believe, by the end of this year. I think by the end of this year there should be a new version of PHP.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, my before my friend said PHP is dead, but
Mm.
just heard from you now because of Node.js or because of Go, Lang like that. I don't
Exactly.
know.
There's a lot of new language. PHP is more of a, I don't know, older
Yeah.
language, right?
Yeah.
The cool kids are using now, yeah, like you say, Node.js,
Yes.
React, all these things. I'm a
Yeah.
big fan of Python lately. That's the one language I'm focusing on. Um,
Python. Python.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Python. I don't know how you would call it, but yeah, Python is the
Yeah.
language, is the name.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I have heard about that. Oh, that means PHP is an old guy, but still need to evolve all the time, right? Need to evolve.
Yes,
That
of
means
course.
yeah. That means
Exactly. And
yeah.
it's still useful as well. Like programs like WordPress still use PHP, right? So,
Yeah, yeah, right.
um,
WordPress, yes. So WordPress also have to upgrade when once PHP got a new version, right?
yeah, they're
So
they're they're actually getting a new version for WordPress that is going to be called Gutenberg or something like that. Seems like it's going to be an interesting new thing to learn.
yeah, something at the core change now, then everything else change,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Framework
exactly.
and yeah, front-end developers like you or back-end
Yeah.
developers also have to yeah. Okay, and users like me also have to change, but we don't know.
You let somebody else learn.
Yeah, we only know when, as a business people, we only know when developers or clients. Uh, I mean the developing companies ask us
Hmm.
to pay more money for new version or for upgrade.
That,
So until then, we
that,
know.
yeah, that's the only moment when you know.
Yeah. Okay. So quick learning very important. That means you have to stay
Very
update with the
important.
changing environment, right? And
Exactly.
yeah, yeah, and software is maybe fastest one of the fastest changing issue now, right?
Exactly.
Okay. 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 Next one is number 5 is deep and broad technical experience.
Experience.
How do you think?
Yeah, different broad
Yeah.
technical experience. Yes, I think I like the how everything is being numbered because of course it's important to have a good technical experience, right?
Yes.
Um, you want to have, which comes with the fact that you have to be a quick learner.
Yes.
um, somebody somebody who has a deep and a broad technical experience. They know different programming language. They
Yes.
know different technologies.
Yes.
They understand how things work.
Yes.
So they're able to mix all these skills that they have into a single project, into different
Uh,
projects. And it's
all
not
right.
just, and having that technical experience is not just programming as well. It means being able to use, I don't know, things like management softwares, right? Like you use
Yes.
Trello or
Yes.
Slack. It
Yeah.
means
Right.
being able to use version control, things like Git or SVNs, and there
Yes.
are programs for
Okay.
version control.
Mm.
um, it is important to be able to work in just different environments. If you're working from the back end, if you're working on the front end,
Yes.
yeah, yes, exactly. It's just being able to be adaptable to whatever need, right?
Yeah. So
Of
that
course.
means
Mhm.
he's a kind of CTO, right? He kind of working with different tools, and working with different people. I mean, developers and different teams, right?
Yes, exactly. It doesn't mean that necessarily that somebody has to know everything, right?
Yes.
But just
Yes.
be able to adapt to whatever situation is required from them.
Yes. And know what software or what tech is necessary for which part of the project, like you just say, right?
Ex-
Yeah,
exactly.
okay, interesting. Okay, so yeah, so that's I can understand. I can imagine. Even I'm not technical guy, but it's like a business. If someone can, yeah, like a CEO in a business, yeah, he should know part of the accounting, part of marketing, part of
Mm-hmm.
fundraising, part of sales, like that. So even he doesn't
Mm-hmm.
manage directly or run own the departments, but he need to understand. He can understand and he can share or be on the same page with yeah,
Exactly.
specific with department, speak the language.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can
Exactly.
understand. Yeah, that's nice. Okay, we move to the next one. Number six.
Mm-hmm.
Number six is a good team player.
A good team
Yeah,
player. Yeah, that's very
yeah,
important.
yeah,
Sometimes, as I think, as programmers, we tend to forget that we're not coding alone and we're not
yeah,
working alone, right?
yeah, right.
So I think a bad programmer is somebody who, like I said, they just like working by themselves and
Yeah,
not sharing their experience, especially as well. Somebody who's a good team player, they're happy to help their other coworkers, so they become
yeah,
better. And therefore, the team becomes better as well, right? They like
yes,
sharing their knowledge.
yeah,
Um, just be helpful all in all.
yeah,
Especially in places like startups, for example, you where the teams are small teams and everything is
yes,
fast paced. You need to
yes,
be able to be a good team player because you're always communicating with everybody, right? And everybody's doing sometimes different things, and a programmer has to go and have meetings with clients, and then I don't know, the girls from marketing, they're coming in as well, and they need help, and yeah.
yeah,
So being a good team player is always uh, a good thing, which goes along with having a positive attitude as well, right? A good team player
yes,
usually has a positive attitude.
yeah, right. So he doesn't, like you said before, in terms of convention, code convention, right? He should play, he should code. I mean, he doesn't
Sorry.
just code his way. He doesn't
Yeah,
just code his
that's
way.
true. Commenting your code is one of the crucial.
Yeah, yeah. That make the team member or clients confused, right? Like a
Yes,
puzzle.
exactly.
Yeah. So should follow
Documentation, having a like writing good documentation for the things you're doing is crucial as
yeah,
well.
transparency, right? And
Exactly.
yeah, follow code convention. You say code convention, right?
Yeah, like writing conventions and naming conventions
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
important.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah. That means team player need to agree on a framework of cooperation, maybe, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I've been in that situation. Sometimes I have to sacrifice. We have to sacrifice our own personality, but no choice, right? If you want to
Oh
go
yeah,
far. Yeah,
E-
you want to go
ego,
far.
ego
Ego.
is the killer
Ego.
of people, right?
Yeah. So ego is the killer of people. Understand? Okay.
Exact.
Okay. So the final one is mm, number seven, I think, is high-end user focus. Yeah, it
Yeah.
seems new thing, right? Do you think it's a new thing or it's somewhere from, I mean, external environment? It's not himself. Okay, yeah. Do you,
Sorry, I don't understand.
how's the idea? I mean, high-end user focus. That means user
Yeah.
is an environment factor. I mean, it's
Yes,
does
of
it?
course. I mean,
Yeah.
I here the difference between a good programmer and a great programmer is that somebody who's
Yeah.
a programmer who's not user focused or user conscious,
Yeah.
they will just wait for somebody to tell them what to do.
Yeah.
And I don't know, there's a problem. Let's say you're working on an app, right?
Yeah.
And your project manager tells you like, hey, we need to do these changes because of whatever reasons. And
Yeah.
a programmer, a good or an average programmer would just do whatever they tell them, right? But
Yeah.
a great programmer would question those orders.
Yeah. Why? Right?
There, yeah, exactly. Because sometimes people make changes, and sometimes the bosses or whatever the clients want changes that are not user oriented. Which in the
Yeah.
end, even though for some software, you have to take into consideration who is the person who's gonna use it, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Great.
you have to think the end user.
Yes.
You have to think about the end user and not who is paying for it. Of course, who
Yeah.
pays is important as well, right? But
Yes.
in the end, the most important thing is the end user. And a great programmer is able to differentiate when a change is user oriented and when it's not. And yeah, it's able to just talk about it and decide if it's worth doing it or not doing it and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I totally agree with this. This thing seems beyond how mean I say beyond IT sector. I mean, it's not technical at all. It's more of market or customer oriented,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. It's
Yeah.
more of the politics of the politics of the environment, right? Sometimes
Yes.
I mean, you have to do it because they're paying you to do it, and that's it. But you
Yeah.
still are able to tell them like, hey, this decision that you're doing is wrong or it's not appropriate. Um,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
yeah, you should be able with good communication skills and a positive attitude, you're able to tell people like what you think and what you think would be a better solution and stuff like that.
Yeah. Right. So then it seems so. Uh, that also means uh, uh, I think this one really make difference between yeah the good one or great one and an average one because the like you say just now an average one maybe just works for money, right? That means
Mm.
a client ask him to do stupid thing, not really stupid, but like a software like we learned yesterday. That means yeah, a software, an app made by him maybe never put into market like that. But
Mhm.
yeah,
Mhm.
but the great one will
Yes,
always ask
exactly.
why this is
Um,
important. Deliver value, right? He wants to deliver value to users. Do you agree with that? Hello, can you hear me? I see you just been disconnected, right? James, xin lỗi các bạn, James đang bị chắc là có vấn đề về internet. Tuy nhiên chúng ta cũng đã thảo luận hết cái điểm 7 ngày hôm nay, thì coi như là bài nói chuyện này cũng hết. Hy vọng các bạn học được một số những cái, tham khảo được một số những cái phẩm chất của của một người lập trình viên tốt, hay là một người lập trình viên xuất sắc. Chào các bạn và hẹn lại gặp các bạn trong cái buổi tới. Bye bye.